Good evening. Here I am. Here I'm is 2 or 3 minutes early. What do you think of that? That's not typical, is it? Welcome to another thrilling episode of Break On Through. Oh, boy. We're going to write some things up already. Okay. All right. Let me get this all set up where I can see your comments. All right, I think we're ready to go. There's Wesley Dixon. There's Adam Wolf. And about 5 more of you in here. Come on in the house. We got a lot to talk about tonight. No, there's Greg Crawford. Man, and you know what? I got to write down Greg Crawford. Because I got to say something about him here in a little bit. All right. Well, first of all, it is September 30th, and I would like for you all to get your Break On Through brew and get ready to hold it up high as we drink a toast to my little brother, Greg Clayton, wishing him a very, very, very happy birthday today. Greg, I love you. Happy birthday and many, many more in the best of health possible. All right. I love you, brother. All right. It's one thing to mark off the list of many things to discuss. Well, Rulebreaker's Ball 2025 is in the books. And I'm pretty much going to echo what a bunch of you already have, man. It's like those 2 days were all killer, no filler. And I'm sure you agree because I heard all y'all say at one time. So, I mean, we all talk, the whole talk nowadays is, we need some transparency there, son. Well, here you go, son. Man, I'm not a fan of those 2-day things anymore. Now, the old COS shows used to pretty much be 3. A Thursday night party somewhere in a club, not in the club that the actual COS show was going to be. And then the Friday night show, then the Saturday night show. Well, I'm definitely not taking part in any of that anymore, but I don't really care for the 2-night business either, but I think this one worked out really well. It sure helps that the hotel's like a mile away from the club. A straight shot pretty much. And but a great time was had by all. And like I said, top first band, last band, especially last band, was just top-notch stuff. I'm going to talk a little bit about each. Taped Fist. The return of Taped Fist. With our main Mondo Braswell on the lead vocals. Man, they're good. They're a really good band. And Mondo is an amazing frontman to a band. I ain't lying, he is. This time was no exception. And let's see, who played after that? Oh yeah, Future Hate. Yeah, Future Hate never disappoint, always great. Future Hate, always great. Don't be late. Future Hate. Kiff. I think Kiff turned on a bunch of new people. Which, they had pretty much half a lineup change. And I guess I've seen them a couple times with this new, I mean, it's been a year or two now. 2 years, 3 years maybe. But man, they just get better and better all the time. And they were really good. And then, what else do we have? Man, Before I Hang. Before I Hang, man, there have been a couple more times where I have seen Before I Hang play. And I don't remember which Super Show it was. It was one of the ones in Austin. They were first band, first day. And as far as I was concerned, they stole the whole show, the whole weekend. And man, they were great the other night. Dave Stennett actually made the trek. Got up, did a few songs. Had a woman come up on stage, give him mouth to mouth. And a very touching moment. I know this sounds weird, but when they did Targets and Lee and Dave were singing it together, man, that was a real touching moment for me. And then, and man, I'm gonna tell you something, and you may not believe this, but then it was the Power Trio version of Rancid Vat. Now I'm gonna tell you what, I have seen Rancid Vat. I've seen them in their most classic of lineups. I saw them with Steve Wilson on vocals. I can't even count how many times I've seen them with Cosmo. I saw them a bunch with Beer. But, man, I'm telling you, this whole Power Trio thing with Marla on bass, Elvis on guitar and singing, of course, Bobo on the drums, man, it was a whole new Rancid Vat experience, one that I really, really enjoyed. And they had a great set list. So night number one, slam dunk. Night number two, Sweet Georgia Brown opened it up. The Sweet Georgia Brown was not a last minute add-on, but a last minute replacement for Blue Ridge Death Cult. And a lot of you probably saw and hung out and talked with Zach Hembree. He was there the whole weekend. But Sweet Georgia Brown always puts on a good show. After him, Wrath of Typhon, one of my favorites, man. They were doing a wrestling thing, the drummer and the singer. I don't know if that's something they just did for Rulebreakers or they've been doing that a while. I've never seen them do that before. And yes, it was entertaining. I don't know how those guys could do that and then go back to singing and playing drums, but I'm a real fan of the Wrath of Typhon that I saw at Rulebreaker's Ball back in, I guess the first one we did in San Antonio. Such an intense band, man. I like them. I love them to death. But, shoot, who's next? Who is next? Self-Made Monsters. Also performing as a power trio. Eddie on guitar and vocals this time. Now, I hope they do find a guitar player soon because, man, I like when Eddie's in front, cutting loose, making some noise, using the theremin, all that kind of stuff. But don't get me wrong, they were fantastic. And I think they gained a bunch of fans that night as well. And then Josephus and George Jonestown Massacre. They always wow the audience. And this was no exception. And one of the highlights of the entire weekend for me was the middle section of our set where we brought on the Destructo Divas. That is Christy Hancock and Brooke Bowling Sherrill, our background vocalist. When we got to the Steppenwolf song, Who Needs You? And we had Joey come on and do the second vocal part with me and play lead guitar, which was fantastic. Man, I had such a great time. Couldn't hear nothing. And I don't know if that was because of the monitors or my hearing just being completely shot. I couldn't hear nothing, but the vibe was really strong, and I really had a great time. Chrissy's talking about Walt Wheat playing with his flip-flops. Chrissy Walker walked up to me and said, you know, when he's playing in his flip-flops, he seems more like himself. But I said, yeah, but, you know, we're not interested in himself. We don't really like himself. We like what we created, what we molded him into. And so we didn't have to worry about flip-flops. And but then, man, oh man, having Mr. Number One George South on stage with us doing Bootleg Preacher. Mind blown. And listen, I got to tell you something. I got a little announcement to make. We're doing 2 shows in December. One in Wilmington at Reggie's with the Street Clones and Kelsey Ray Copeland. That same show is taking it all the way to the middle of the state. We're going to be doing it at the Milestone in Charlotte, North Carolina. That's right. Street Clones, Kelsey Ray Copeland, ANTiSEEN. But the one in Charlotte is going to feature, once again, to the hometown crowd, Mr. Number One George South and the Destructo Divas doing Bootleg Preacher live at the Milestone, December 6th. Now, back to Rulebreaker's ball. Did like everybody catch the crud when it left? Because of almost everybody I know that caught some kind of crud from that weekend. I was down for a day. I had to. I called. You know, I had the weekend free, and then went to work on Monday, called out on Tuesday. Can't come in there, Hoss. Too down and out. But I just want to thank everybody for coming. I want to thank all the bands for playing. I think it was a success. I think we did what we came to do, which is blow minds and kick behinds. And I think that's what happened. So, all right, Erica says they got it. Greg Crawford said it. I said I wanted to say something about Greg Crawford. Actually, I want to say something about Greg Crawford's son, Brandon Crawford. In Jeff Clayton's honest opinion, the star of the show was Brandon Crawford. Young Brandon Crawford. Man, you know, like him and his parents, they paid to get in both nights. You know, they traveled to be there for a long way. Had to take an airplane. And man, Brandon is like Johnny on the spot stage manager. I don't think he knew he was being a stage manager, but he was. And he was doing an ace job of it. Brandon Crawford, you want a stage manager with ANTiSEEN? That job is open to you anytime. Now, I'm not saying nothing bad about Road Dogg Brandon Yeti, and I ain't saying nothing about Mondo. But the kid took his niche, his job of stage managing. He didn't go around, I'm the stage manager, so no, he was way more laid back and cool about it than that. But Brandon, I will now drink a Break On Through brew to you and all you do. Brandon Crawford. Thank you, buddy. Old JC's going to make it up to you somehow. Something's going to show up to the Crawford household down there in Pensacola way, and Papa Gray's going to think it's for him. Start cutting into it, opening up. It's going to say, to Brandon. But, Yes, a great time, man. There's already discussions about winning away for next year, but man, I'm going to tell y'all, and don't take this the wrong way, but as far as planning these things out, I'm pretty sure that's it for me. So, I don't know. I don't want to do it next year, but I don't know. You know, I may change my mind. I've been known to change my mind a time or two. Speaking of some of the groups on Rulebreaker's Ball, Self-Made Monsters, man, they had their new LP, Feral, for sale at the show. I hope some of y'all were able to pick it up. And but if you're not, and you're waiting for the CD, well, the CD is going to be out ASAP on Long-Haired Weirdo Records. That's right. The all new Self-Made Monsters album Feral will be also on CD, and you can get it directly from me. And as soon as I get some tracking information, when I can expect it, I'll have it on Big Cartel Store. Maybe we'll get old Eddie to come in on the day that it's released and come in and do a little breaking on through with me. Me and Eddie always have a good time on here. Oh, me and all my guests have a good time on here. I need to start getting some more guests lined up, don't you think? More guests? Elvis Irwin was wanting to be a guest on Break On Through, and I would have loved to have had him, but he was he was wanting to do it when he got into town while we were in rehearsals. No way. Oh, y'all, we're glad. There's no way I could have handled that. I'm starting to really learn what my limitations are as to what all I can tackle. And that just it was too much. But that is not to say that he may not be on Break On Through at some other time. Y'all know what tomorrow is? Tomorrow is October 1st. The official 42-year anniversary of the very first ANTiSEEN live performance ever, somewhat ever in existence. 42 years ago. We stomped on the stage like we knew what we were doing. We didn't, but everyone was there sure thought we did. But 42 years tomorrow. And you know, I still remember quite a bit about it, oddly enough. Also tomorrow, starting October 1st, Revival Nation at the Encounter Charlotte. That's the church me and my family attend. And man, I'm going to tell you something. Oh, I froze up on the internet here. Maybe I'm still going on the... Yeah, I'm froze up here. All right, there we go. But Revival Nation. They got a big revival tent in the tradition of the old Billy Graham revivals. Listen to this lineup. I don't know if any of y'all know who these fellas are, but I suggest you check it out. Todd Coconato, former Hollywood child actor, now an evangelist. Troy Brewer, a man who walks right into Mexico and gets all those trafficked kids and rescues them. I wish I had time to talk about all these fellas, man. But man, if y'all come or you can watch it, if it's being streamed, I imagine it will be. These guys got some amazing stories, and I'm talking about they're amazing folks. Joseph Z. The very controversial Pastor Greg Locke. Controversial? Why? Because he tells it like it is. People don't like the way it is. People got their own interpretation of the way it is. You can say that, well, that's just the way it is for me. There's a way it is. And Greg Locke will tell you what it is. And man, my favorite, my bishop, Bishop Alan DiDio of our church. He's going to be there all 4 days. I don't know what the order is. That may be by design. But if you're interested, hey, I'd love to see you there. I'm going to be working. I won't be able to hang out with you, but I'd love to see you there. Revival Nation at Encounter Charlotte. Highway 24 in Midland, North Carolina. Man, I'm going to tell you something. I have been stoking the fires of some long-haired weirdo now. With the help of Mr. Malcolm Kent. I told you Self-Made Monsters brand new want to be out on Long-Haired Weirdo. Next, we are working furiously to put out release number 009-LP. I'm talking about Clayton Wensil, the biggest selling title on Long-Haired Weirdo Records. And we're getting ready to press 500 pieces of vinyl after doing two pressings on CD, which we're almost down to the bottom of the second pressing, and now we're going to have the LPs, and there is a bonus track on the LP. So we do it in ANTiSEEN world and Clayton and Wensil Long-Haired Weirdo world. We do things different. Instead of, the CD's got bonus tracks because it's got more time. No. We do it to where the LP has the bonus track. It's going to be pressed on white vinyl. It's going to be a beautiful thing. It has been, we called it sowing seeds. We have been sowing seeds ever since the CD came out, and we are starting to see the harvest. Now, I was supposed to gather up my information for a Clayton and Wensil show that we have coming up on the 18th of October. And I think it's in Huntersville. I will get that information. Of course, I'm going to make my own flyer, but I'm also going to push it on here and everywhere in hopes that people in the local area will come out and see us. And Clayton and Wensil will also be appearing at the Encounter Charlotte on November 1st as part of our fall festival at the church. And I would love to see you all there. Absolutely free. Absolutely free. Clayton and Wensil. I already talked about the vision with fitness. Man, and listen, I'm going to tell you something else. For reasons I can't really go into at the moment, after several long back and forth telephone conversations with TKO President Mark Rainey, it has been determined that when it comes time for the Eat More Possum reissue to come out, it has been, you can call it downgraded if you want to. I don't call it downgraded. I tell you, we have decided to release it as a 1 LP release. And let me tell you what all, man, usually when someone says, oh, it's going to be remastered, and you're like, oh, okay, well, what? Man, I got the remastered version of Eat More Possum the other day. I got a file of it. And I listened to it at 4:30 in the morning, driving on my way to work. And man, I'm going to tell you what. All the way down to Old Rock Hill Town, I had a big grin on my face. I was absolutely giddy. There's not many releases where they say, oh, we did a remastering. And I'm just like, well, it just sounds a little louder maybe, but. Man, Jeff Dahl gave mastering instructions to the German record company that was going to press the record. And because it would have cost them like the equivalent of back then, another $150 or something, they decided to completely ignore it. Which is why we have the thin, muddy sound that that record's known for. Even when, you know, and that has become such a part of its own lore that even when we did a remix and remaster, the impact, I think, was somewhat lost. But I'm telling you this, we dug out Jeff Dahl's notes, his instructions, and along with the advancements in mastering since 1993, you're not going to believe what this record sounds like now. And I'm going to tell you what, I know it's cliche as all get out when they got a new mastering of an old record. You say, oh, it's like listening to it for the first time. But I'm telling you, it was like listening to it for the first time. The bass and the guitar are so separated now that you can actually tell who's doing what. The vocals, the background vocals, nice separation. The vocals ended up coming out a little up front, more so than the original. And there was not a remix done. It was just simply remastering. And I'm telling you, I think you are going to be pleasantly surprised. And to top that and top everything off, we found the original photo print of the possum on the cover. And that's the way it's going to be. It's going to be a crystal clear version of that roadkill possum. And it's going to be in the sharpest detail. Man, it's just going to be an amazing thing, and I cannot wait for it to happen. I'm sending, I got a stack of photos over here now that are going. And yes, Clayton Zilla, you're right. Scott Savage's harmonica does cut through much better. It's not just buried down in there. And even the in-between song samples and skits sound incredible. It's wonderful. I cannot wait till you get it. And just in case you're walking around all over your town going, dang man, what's ANTiSEEN? I'm going to tell you, October 25th, we'll be in Morganton, North Carolina at the Brown Mountain Lights Festival. I got word today that we will be given the 7 p.m. slot. I'm all about it. Pretty soon we'll have all the set times and the address and all that stuff, so you can go ahead and make your plans to join us in beautiful Morganton, North Carolina, at the Brown Mountain Lights Festival. If you don't know what the Brown Mountain Lights are, look it up on YouTube on the Tommy Fail. Tommy Fail used to be partners with Arthur Smith. Tommy Fail has a song called the Brown Mountain Lights. Listen to that, and then go read about what some egghead has to say about them. 3 all new releases, 3 CDs. There is a money-saving all 3 CD option on the Big Cartel store. These are the first 3, and then what is going to be many of the live archive series. One that has already made its rounds quite a bit is us in Pittsfield, Massachusetts in 2010. But these have had very little to no exposure. Myrtle Beach, South Carolina from 1989. And Pineville, North Carolina, we played a strip club called Memories. I thought it'd be better if it was called Memories, but it's called Memories. But that was from 1985. Get them! Me and Malcolm both have them, and I'll tell you what, we moved through a bunch of them at Rulebreakers, and I'm moving through a lot of them now. But come on, get some. You got to get you some. And if you want to look like you went to Rulebreakers ball, but you didn't, you can get one of the beautiful T-shirts that I still have left. And I don't have many left, so don't think, oh man, I'll get one after the holidays, you know, when they ain't gonna be around after the holiday. I don't have many at all. But check the Big Cartel store. If I still got the size as an option, then I still have it. Man, I'm serious about having more guests on here. I think I'm gonna get it squared away with Eddie soon. That he come on when the Self-Made Monster CD goes. And of course, man, we're gonna have George South again. And George South guest appearance is always a guaranteed table thumping smash. Besides, we need to get George over here to have a talk with Coleman. He will declare that he indeed is George South. And as he's eating dinner, he'll put a fork in his mouth and declare that he is Abdullah, and he will start to attack certain members of the family. So we're going to have George give him a little talking to, tell him, you know, he appreciates his super fandom, but he really needs to control himself when acting like he himself is Mr. Number One, George South. Speaking of Dave Stennett, here he is right here with us right now. How do you, Dave Stennett? Quite a performance you put on the other night there, Hoss. Really glad to see you, and I know all the folks there were happy to see you as well. You gave us all quite a memory. So thank you. Clayton, what are you saying, Trip Wensil Barry Mondo? For guests? For having guests on? Well, we'll see what we can do. You know, I always try to please. Speaking of being pleased, look what I got from one of the Zilla children. Sent special delivery from their parents direct to me, the long-haired weirdo. I mean, look at that. I can't really see her autograph here, so I don't want to pronounce her name wrong. But look at that, man. That's free-handed too. She didn't trace this. That is some good stuff right there now. I'm gonna have to hit up young Zilla at some point. I'm watching the delay right now. Looking at that drawing, man, it's great. Thank you. The Zilla family always blesses the Clayton family. Anytime, Zara. I like that name. But little Zara's the one that did that drawing, and all I'm saying is keep them coming. Because I'm serious. You think old JC's not, but when old JC finds out you have a talent, then one day I'm going to say, hey there, young Zilla. I got this thing I need a cover for. You never know. Well, I didn't have a top 10 at all, but man, I wanted to talk about Rulebreakers. I wanted to talk about that Eat More Possum reissue. Seems like to me there's more stuff happening, but I haven't a clue this evening. I'll tell you something I did find out this week. I for some reason, I'll tell you the reason. I watched the documentary on Netflix about the English, I guess he was a DJ and a television host, Jimmy, what was his last name? Jimmy Stivell or something? It turns out he was abusing young people from a basically a mental hospital that he built. Until the talk of the town became the monster of Britain. Savile, that's it, Jimmy Savile. And for some reason, I was thinking that his character was a lot like Screamin Lord Sutch. And man, if y'all don't know who Screamin Lord Sutch is, that's your homework until the next break on through. Investigate Screamin Lord Sutch. And it turns out that, you know, a lot of the albums by folks that I like, the egghead critics, they just slam them. I saw a thing recently. Every once in a while, if I think about something, and I was thinking about Lord Sutch, I looked him up the other day, and it was saying it was in the top 80 of the worst records ever. The one called Lord Sutch and Heavy Friends. Man, I'm telling you, I don't think it's terrible. I think it's great. It's got Jimmy Page, John Paul Jones, John Bonham. One of his records had Richie Blackmore. The people showed up to play for him. I mean, he wasn't like a classically trained singer, but his approach to me was just, I loved it. I still love it. If you can find on Spotify or on YouTube, look up Lord Sutch and Heavy Friends. Give it a listen. Yeah, Erica, when we played Smoking Fire the other night, I guess that's another reason I was thinking about Lord Sutch recently. That is thus covering one of two Lord Sutch songs ANTiSEEN has done, Smoking Fire and 'Cause I Love You. It almost sounds like a Slade song, actually. And I also did a cover of Murder in the Graveyard with the Hookers. It only came out online. I tried to get it out on Halloween, but they never did anything with it. I never did anything with it. But you get to listen to it every once in a while. But that's your homework. Lord Sutch and Heavy Friends. Give it a listen. I had a spare copy. I mean, anytime I see a copy of it, I buy it. And my friend Mike Thrower, was over one day and had one of his daughters with him, and she's getting into vinyl, you know, and getting into old records, you know, like if y'all know Mike Thrower, he's got a lot of vinyl, so it's kind of a natural thing she would go that route. But I said, hey, I want you to take this home and listen to it, and it's yours, you know, if you like it. It turned out she loved it, and every time I see Mike, he says, man, my daughter still listens to that Lord Sutch, you know, and I was like, great, man. So, I just think it's a fantastic album. I don't see what all the negative stuff was about it. Probably those idiots like whispering, what's his name, from Old Grey Whistle Test, or whatever that was. Anyway. Well, listen, y'all, I'm going to go ahead and turn on in. We'll be back in a week or two and do it all over again. Clayton Wensil has just posted a mini documentary about Screamin Lord Sutch. Give it a watch. Give it a listen. Well, folks, heck, if we will celebrate 42 years of ANTiSEEN tomorrow. Post all kind of stuff on the ANTiSEEN page or Destructive Central or something. 42 years. I sometimes amaze myself. But thanks for coming, everybody. Hey, I hope to see you at Revival Nation. I also hope to clear my throat. But I love you. Thank you for still coming and listening to what old JC's got to say. Share it. Pass it around. You know, Clinton's going to have it on the YouTube page probably tonight. I don't know. Maybe tomorrow. But thank you, everybody. I love you. God loves you. And I'll see you soon when we get together one more time and break on through.